Go ahead.
All right, we're mic'd up.
Tell me what was the high point of your day today?
All right.
Anybody? Yes.
My interview with you.
Oh,
Actually, you're my second favorite.
all right.
Sorry, but that's pretty good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
It was
So
Bob.
I'm used to that.
Bob Ratcliffe. His was amazing.
All right.
Lee, what was your high point?
I really enjoyed Rattlesnake when they said, "Oh yeah, there's a hole in the middle at the bottom. Take the right; it's the easy line." And then it was way not what I expected. It was a lot of fun.
I saw one left there.
All right, I'm gonna hand it over to you.
All right, so I was going to take a moment this evening. I'm not going to take very long, but I just want to answer two questions that I get a lot, and I think there's probably a few people here that have the same question. The first one is, when is the dam removal going to happen? And the second one that's sort of related is the dam removal actually going to happen? So I have some answers to those. And but first, I just want to take a moment to just acknowledge where we are here today and, here in Karuk territory. And I just want to acknowledge the tribes that have been the real leaders in this restoration effort. And, we had some great perspective on that this morning. I just want to acknowledge that, not only the tribe here, but the Yurok tribe down at the mouth, the Klamath tribes up in the upper basin, Hoopa Valley tribe, and also the Shasta people that we've had an opportunity to work with. And it's just been a great experience. I know I feel like I've grown personally and professionally through the interactions that I've had. And it's just been wonderful to have a small part in this whole endeavor. So as a, student of the Federal Energy Regulatory process, like my esteemed colleague here, Ron Stork, part of the proud group of members of the Hydropower Reform Coalition, which I chair. Many organizations, in addition to the tribes that I just mentioned, have been working on this effort. So I just wanted to say a few words on where we are right now. So there have been a few, fits and starts over the last 20 years, and without going into a lot of detail, Ron and I would be happy to entertain you further over the campfire later tonight. But there's been, a few different, at first it was relicensing, and then there was an effort at removal that involved congressional legislation that didn't pan out. And then this idea came together to form the Klamath River Renewal Corporation, a nonprofit entity, to be the dam removal entity and accept ownership of the dams from Pacificor. And as Regina mentioned this morning, we had a little bit of an issue with this. There's two regulatory proceedings. The first is the transfer of the license to the dam removal entity from Pacificor, and the second part is the actual surrender application and decommissioning proceeding. So in the first proceeding, the transfer application, the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission raised some concerns with the ability of Klamath River Renewal Corporation to backstop the liability on this, did not fully approve the transfer of the license away from Pacificor. Pacificor had concerns with that, which Regina alluded to this morning, and required a little bit more advocacy to kind of hold them to the original agreement. But the Renewal Corporation and the stakeholders involved in relicensing, and the tribal governments as well, were able to work out an agreement where the states of Oregon and California are now backstopping the license and are co-licensees in that transfer proceeding. And so that has been approved. That doesn't take effect until the surrender application is acted on. So that's what's happening right now. So basically what happened is the Klamath River Renewal Corporation filed a whole pile of paperwork that's all their decommissioning plans, and that is currently under review under National Environmental Policy Act which I know many of you here are students of. And the draft environmental impact statement came out in February. There was a robust public comment period associated with that. I read every single one of the public comments that came in. It was well over 1,000. And a lot of diverse perspectives, a few issues being raised, but I would say, I don't know, my assessment of it is the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission has, really done a pretty robust job of evaluating this application that's been submitted. And what we expect now is that the final environmental impact statement will be completed this fall. September's kind of the timeline thinking on that. And then the commission, Federal Energy Regulatory Commission, has to act on that and actually issue the surrender order. And the expectation is that that will happen by the end of the year. I would say that's the sort of collective perspective. For me personally, I think that sounds really, really ambitious. I've never seen the commission act on anything that quickly. But if the commission were to act on something as fast as they've ever acted on, it would be this proceeding, because it has a fair degree of national attention with this administration, with the chairman of the commission. And so it could happen that this one would move faster. But I'm thinking about my experience with Conduit and going through the decommissioning process and the Conduit Dam removal, and even after we had everything all put together, it was still at least like 9 months before it actually made its way, through and got to the top of the pile in the FERC docket. The commissioners meet on a monthly basis, and there's just like a lot of stuff that they have to deal with, and so just getting to something once it's ready takes some time. But let's say that if they're able to get it completed by the end of the year, that would position them to be able to start a project mobilization next year in 2023 and start the drawdown at the end of 2023. And then the substantial work on dam removal would happen through 2024, with all 4 dams being removed, and then the river, being a free-flowing river in 2025, and obviously restoration work continuing on after that, which Gwen's going to talk about further. But I just wanted to give like a little bit of an overview of kind of where we are in the regulatory process as far as timeline. And what I would say is this will happen. I think at this point it's not a question of if. There's a little bit of uncertainty on the when, but it will happen, and it is coming closer than it's ever been in the last, kind of steps we're going through. The one wild card that I didn't mention, though, is if there's a challenge to the FERC order. So it would not surprise me if someone files for a rehearing on this with the commission. I can't imagine what, new information they would bring to the table. That's typically the basis for a challenge on rehearing, given how robust the administrative record is in this proceeding. And then there's always the possibility of a legal challenge. So if someone decides they want to take this to federal court and challenge it through that avenue, that would be additional delays. So that's the one thing that I think is a little bit of an open question. But anyway, that's overview on timeline. But I don't know, any questions? And I'm sure, Ron, anything to add that I haven't?
I was going to say that you were so diplomatic.
So diplomatic.
About whom I assumed, but you decided you would be diplomatic.
Yeah, I did. Yeah.
So, the timeline you just gave us, sounds to me like that's your optimistic perspective. So, given your experience with FERC and other dam removals, how long, if there is a delay, how long is that delay likely to be?
Yeah, for me personally, it feels ambitious to expect a final order from FERC by the end of this year. If I was putting a date on it, I would say early to like late spring 2023, like feels what's kind of typical. And then I think it's, with that timeline, it's a little bit hard to get the full mobilization and for drawdown in 2023. So that is a very, very tight timeline. And if someone files for rehearing, even if FERC acts on that within a month or 2 months, typically they, I wouldn't be surprised if they acted on this within the 30 days and just denied it. That's still another month. And then the federal, if there's litigation, that's just as long as it takes. So I don't know, others could probably reflect on that here too. That can be a couple of years or even a few years, depending on how far someone's willing to take it. So.
Okay. Likely
Yeah.
delay of 1 year, possibly more.
Yeah.
Okay, thanks.
I have a really nerdy follow-up to that, Tom.
Yeah.
Apologies if most of the rest of you aren't in the weeds quite far. How might the Allegheny decision play into that on a rehearing request that could be followed up by litigation?
Yeah, good question. I don't know. What do you think?
I think that they might deny it by operation of law within
Right.
30 days if
Yeah.
they're required
Yeah.
to, and leave the party requesting the rehearing, Siskiyou County, hanging and wondering whether they need to file a federal lawsuit in the
Yeah.
next 30 days or not,
Yeah.
so they lose their chance.
Yeah.
And then it might just move forward.
Yeah, that's an interesting, yeah.
Give us a nutshell of the Allegheny
Yeah, I'll give you a
decision.
nutshell, so people are not that far down. So there was a court decision that basically, to summarize its impact, held that FERC has to, when there's a request for rehearing, right, which is essentially an appeal of the FERC decision, that FERC only has 30 days to act upon a decision on that. Otherwise, it's denied. The request for rehearing or the appeal is denied. And so it's an administrative impracticality to make a decision within 30 days. And so what FERC is now doing since this court decision is they deny every rehearing request by operation of law, meaning the court told us we only have 30 days, you're denied. They may then pick it up later and follow through with that through an administrative proceeding to sort of rule on to reconsider the argument that was made. But there's a 60-day clock that starts ticking for when the aggrieved party, the appealing party, can file a federal lawsuit. So they're left, after 30 days, they get denied on the rehearing. They only have 30 days to decide if they're going to file a lawsuit. But they also don't yet know what FERC might say if they address the merits of their appeal or rehearing. So it's this very gray in-between nebulous zone that requires action in that second 30 days of the 60-day period. You don't know what FERC is thinking, but you might have to file a federal lawsuit, which could then be easily mooted by FERC addressing your concerns. It's very complicated.
Yeah, this is all very, I mean, I can't even remember, when did the Allegheny decision happen? This is relative.
Late 2019?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's relatively recent.
Yeah, so relatively recent, so we don't have a lot of experience, to kind of know how all this plays out, right? Yeah. All right. One final commercial here. Actually, Scott's my colleague from American Whitewater here, lives in the Klamath Basin. He put together this cool map. Some of you have seen it on the side of my van. We made up some copies of it. It's a future of whitewater recreation in the upper Klamath River, just a map and overview, and something we've produced for the boating community to just help inform and educate folks on what's happening. Folks are welcome to take a copy of this, and I'll probably set some out at breakfast tomorrow too. I've also got some stickers and journals and copies of our river access planning guide that we did with River Management Society. So I've got a few hard copies of those I'll set out tomorrow at breakfast that people are just welcome to take. So anyway.
American Whitewater website, I have a coworker who might be interested, but we don't see anyone in person anymore, so if I can send them the link, that would
Yes,
be-
yeah.
It's on the website, I'll just talk. The future of the
Yeah, I think so.
Yes, it's in a dark corner, and if you can't find it, let us know.
we can
Yeah.
like, yes.
We want to make sure that you get it. It is in digital format. I might be able to airdrop it from my iPhone to you. That would help.
My phone is very low on batteries.
With power, there's like
All right. Did you get a microphone? Do you mind telling Matt that we're going to switch speakers? Sure, Sarah. To see if. All right, so Klamath River Renewal Corporation has a whole host of very exceptional firms that they've been working on this whole project, and I've had opportunity to work with several of them. I've had some opportunity to interface with Rez. Really excited that Gwen was able to come down today and just tell us a little bit about what's going on with the restoration effort. So,
Thank you, Tom.
yeah.